Okay, cool.
It's
Perfect.
an absolute beautiful, yeah, silence. Well, yeah, really, it feels very still. I had a very busy day. Hence I took time to ground. Oh, and we are
Oh,
live. Wow,
here
I
we
love it.
go.
I love it. Even my picture, yeah, even my tab bounces off your background. Absolutely amazing. So now I'm gonna find you myself here. Amazing. We are live. What time it is? Oh, we got on even live a little bit earlier. Okay, it's perfect because yeah, I will elaborate to people why. Because I didn't want for YouTube beautiful community to miss out anything, either yours or either my tour. So I'll share a little bit. Usually, we jump on a little bit earlier than right than plan to go live, and mostly I will ground a little bit with the guests, just check in how we're feeling, and a lot of times I will appreciate them as well, or wherever. Sometimes they will share what they want to talk about. Yet the moment today's soul brother opened his mouth and I'm like, "Ugh, I feel like YouTube is already missing out. Hence, I was like, I appreciate you. I love you. Can we go live? So, welcome, welcome, welcome to Being the Glitch, another episode, episode 15. Tora, so beautiful. Your attachment patterns are running your life. That's the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we might go deep and wide. We will go with the flow for sure. Yet here in this space, awakening again is not about aesthetics. Authenticity all the way. It's raw broadcasting, like I just said
Mhm.
to Tor. It's a frequency transmission disguised as conversation because my brother brought in his codes. I bring in my codes. We co-create the same that everyone tunes into this conversation now on an any quantum timeline, right? Time, because there is no really time. So you already co-creating this conversation with us. So thank you so much. We all at this moment are tuning forks and broadcasting from this edge of human evolution, I will say. We are on the edge of it, literally. And every guest, and in fact, most people that resonate with our videos, even everyone that tunes in here to watch. We are all glitches here, right? We all choose the truth over comfort, frequency over fitting in, audacity to fully be alive, no matter even if it's comfortable or not. Because Thor shared something that
Mhm.
this is kind of his first time,
By the
and
way,
yeah,
not
he
to be
was.
not to be the glitch, but we are at 5:55 right now.
Love it. 7,500. Amazing. Here you
Continue,
go.
continue.
Yeah, what a great. See, we were supposed to tune in a little earlier.
Yes, right.
And we're flowing. So yeah, it's his first time, and he already had it in his body, right? The feels and
Yeah.
the knowing and the desire, right, to expand and to step in into his new ways of being, right? We're all showing up as leaders now, and that's how I feel. We're all even if you're like not running a page like me, right? Or not standing as a DJ in front. I want to be talking from the future timeline, right? In front of thousands, thousands, thousands of people. It doesn't matter. You are a leader of yourself, meaning anything you touch, collective gets. Yeah, anything you spit out, collective gets. So yes, you are leading. We are the ones creating. I get it, the perspective, and I get the layer of awakening that the elites are running it, yet really they fooled us into
Mm.
we are the ones that running it. They just fooled us to co-creating what we're not aware we're co-creating. So yes, thank you for all of you being fully alive and again choosing your authenticity over programming or trying to fit in. I love you all. So yes, if you're feeling and resonating with these conversations, you are home. And then thank you so much for the journey that you walked through to come back to your own wholeness. Because now you are the tuning fork for that wholeness. You know, we're like a masterpiece. I think Peter Crone says a masterpiece and work in progress at the same time because we're training
Mhm.
our bodies and nervous systems, right? These physical vessels to be able to hold the power that we really are, right? I feel like beyond nuclear, that what we were. So let's all, you know what? Let's take all of us a deep breath. Ah, and
Mm.
fully remember and activate the power that we freaking are. Welcome, welcome to Being the Glitch. Thank you so much. We are greeting another beautiful soul, Thor. I love you, Thor Wixom. We met on Instagram, and you've been following me, I think, and then it's just easy conversations. You know, not every DM I go into, for sure not. Some DMs stand forever. Yet there are sometimes just people that we click. And it's so beautiful how he even appreciates me. I know what he is being an right? Like the way he even reshared my posts, so talk to me, what resonated with him, and so on. So yes, a DJ, creator, right? An influencer. He sent me a little bio. And I
Mm.
looked at your, and then I went through all of your, quite a bit of your Instagram as well, and such a beautiful energy. Because again, you are you are in the presence of so many people, even when we are not. We are such a powerful tuning fork. Yet, when we are in presence on so many people, right? He is specializes in capturing and creating the media for the what do you call it? Worldwide EDM, right? The festivals.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
the EDM community, music festivals.
yeah.
So this is I laugh. I show people this. I say this is my resume.
I love.
So these are wristbands from festivals that I have been to. Most of them are work wristbands.
Yeah,
I don't even know how many's on here, but like a little close up here. They're thick. They are thick. So every single one of these, once it's been on my wrist, has not come off. So I have my oldest ones are about 3 years old, and
got
then
you.
sometimes they get a little tight, and I'm like, okay, it's time to prune the tree a little bit.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful again that like there's not an industry anymore. Now we don't have an awakened soul that remembered who they are. And when I asked her, like I was like, you know, again, we already conversed a little bit in the DMs in a way. Yet when I asked like what he wants to talk about, right
Mm.
away, the beautiful things that you went you know, and trauma and attachment and complex PTSD and all this. And I was like, wow, again, being in connection, in presence with so many, and you get to be able to ground yourself. You get to be
Mm.
able to somehow lead yourself in a line. I don't know, maybe you will be able even to share how easy that is for you, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, and at the same time, you wanting to speak your voice. You know, he shared with me was like, wow, I had it on my mind, like, you know, to really speak up to even my own community. Because if we are informed, and then little by little, we were taking these inspired, aligned actions of the information that already we realized, correct? Because again,
yeah,
information is not power. Embodied information is power. You know, information is potential. So everybody gets to step into something, and you're already showing, you're stepping into your voice and sharing more. So go ahead, take away, and at this moment, like wherever you feel like going, go.
yeah. Okay, well, let's start with the theme, the topic that we promised everyone we would talk about. Um,
Oops,
I
might not happen. Love, you never know. I think I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you yet. I'll
it's
be checking
okay.
time to time on the phone to see if like there's a comment or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
yeah, Yet, the funny thing, I'm pretty sure the people that are watching us, they will be like, "Oh, let's go here. Oh, let's go there." Like they wouldn't care so much. Go ahead.
Do you know how I go live on my channel too, by the way? Is there a way to do that, or we're
No,
live on both?
no, it's only on one channel at the
Only
same
one.
time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
So we
right.
can collab.
We'll do
Um,
a replay.
yeah, we'll collab. I'll collab, and it's gonna show
Okay.
up on yours as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I can't
Well,
collab right now. It's after the video is ready for my own YouTube, and then it's ready for yours as well. So
all right,
live,
perfect.
yeah. So live, they get tuned into my YouTube. Yet, most stories when we reshared, I had the YouTube link, my YouTube link attached.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Um, so
So,
yeah, so I want to start with just like I guess going back in my personal history to the period of time in my life where I I realized that I was operating from a subconscious place that I didn't really understand. I noticed that there were behaviors and patterns that were showing up in my relationships, particularly in my romantic relationships.
wow.
And after a while, I was like, well, you know, what part of this do I like ultimately need to own? Because I just remember being like so deflective and like needing to be right in these big fights, and they were so common.
And it feels
And
real. It feels so
yeah, it's icky.
absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
And
The
so
ick,
like
yeah.
at a certain point, I was like, okay, well, I need to understand some things about myself to understand why am showing up the way that I'm showing up. And so I'm gonna be pretty vulnerable here. And as you mentioned towards the beginning, our little pre-show, this is the first time that I've gone live in an interview format about anything other than my professional life. I've done podcasts, surrounding my music and my EDM career and all of that, but like this is the first time that I've really like gone into any sort of depth and exposed myself and just put it all out there and just kind of been vulnerable. So, you know, it's interesting because looking back, attachment theory was not the first place that I started. What I did was I first basically made a list of all of the worst things that I had done and said in any of these fights. And I was like, wow, some of this is really narcissistic. I was like, I just really am very appalled at the fact that I have acted this way and been this way and shown up this way. And so the very first place I started was, okay, I know I'm not a narcissist because I do care about people. And yet these patterns just seem to like auto run themselves when I get into these situations with my partners. So really, what is up with that? So the only place I could think of to start was, what is a narcissist? What are narcissistic behaviors? Where do they come from? What types of narcissists are there? Is there anyone, anyway? And I discovered that it's a spectrum. Then you have that 3 to 5% that the DSM-5 categorizes as NPD, and they're the worst of the worst. They're malignant narcissists or covert narcissists, but they just are not really capable of being any other way. That's the idea? Like they're the worst of the worst. Okay, so somewhere along the way, we develop narcissistic tendencies. And I was like, well, I got to start somewhere. So I started with that, discovered it was a spectrum, and discovered that no, I'm not a true narcissist if I am actually caring, giving a, can we swear on this show? Giving a crap about the people that I'm hurting. Like, malignant narcissists hurt people, and that's their strategy, and they don't really think
Yeah, it's yeah.
they don't operate from empathy. And I'm like, well, I'm very empathetic about the fact that I'm hurting my partners. So there's got to be there must be some good in me. There must have something to work with. So
I
I
love
started there.
I love where you started.
No nowhere else to go. So I started with the worst and found ways to, I guess, build a literacy around that. And then so that led into, okay, so how does a narcissist become a narcissist? And there's a lot of different theories, and I won't go into like all the different things, but I went deep down the rabbit hole because I wanted to hear at least a solid perspective from each angle, and probably multiples of those, just so I could kind of cross correlate and triangulate
Beautiful.
what I found my value to be in that information. And so in the process of this, I discovered what was called the injured narcissist. And again, that's a little bit of a debatable topic, but basically the idea that a narcissist acts the way that they do because they're compensating for something that they're not able to find within themselves. So like when a narcissist seeks supply, for example, and I mean narcissism is such a buzzword and everybody's studying it these days, so right, we're all speaking the same language, but like when a narcissist seeks supply, what are they doing? Ultimately, they're looking for something that they have not learned yet how to give themselves. And in the process of them growing up systemically within their family situation generally, or whatever their circumstances were growing up, this was there was a pattern or a series of things that led to them having this really negative view of themselves, and then trying to fill that negative view, but or counteract that negative view of themselves by using other people's energy to make themselves feel good. So
Yeah.
that's kind of it in a nutshell. And so when I look back, I was like, yeah, a lot of my arguments with my partners were absolutely about whether or not they were giving me enough attention, for
Yeah.
example. Like it was a very much like an energetic thing. And I realized I'm like, wow, I'm seeking supply of kind of narcissistically, empirically from my partners, and
Yeah.
that's not cool. That's not going to sustain happiness in the relationship. It's not going to sustain happiness for myself. So I was like, okay, so a narcissist can become narcissistic by virtue of an emotional injury, an injury to their psyche or their ego, right? And I was like, all right, well, what does that injury look like? So how do I define that? And how do I what the metaphor was the emotional body. And I realized that we can be deeply scarred emotionally, just like we can be deeply scarred physically,
Yeah.
to the point where we actually have a spiritual impediment in that way. Whereas, spiritual walking or spiritual running, some people can't spiritually run or they can't spiritually walk because they're still injured. But then the good news that I discovered through my understanding, through my research with attachment theory and CPTSD, was that yeah, all of this was actually reprogrammable through neuroplasticity. It was you could build a literacy around these topics. Now, I'm not a professional. I don't even really consider myself to be an expert. What I consider myself to be is knowledgeable, and I consider myself to have a high level of vocabulary in terms of CPTSD and attachment literacy. But that journey, that path, led me from asking the question, well, what does that mean to be an injured narcissist, and how was I injured in the process of growing up to the point where I developed these compensatory mechanisms in life. My maladaptive attachment strategies is basically what it came down to.
A good
And
one. Maladaptive. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so like so that question came up, and I'm like, okay, so and then I was introduced to the concept of attachment theory, and then a corollary to that was CPTSD. And I'm just going to say thank you to the YouTube algorithms that brought me all of this incredible content, that
I
I
love
pretty
this.
much I'm just going to be open about something else too that I've never really talked about openly. I'm definitely on the spectrum. Um, so I have to work with that, the way my brain naturally works. And it's funny because I went on that tangent. Now, where was I?
Perfect. Perfect.
Where were we? Oh yeah, the
Don't
injury.
worry,
Okay.
drop into your heart and whatever comes next, we're all good. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
add, yeah, while you're feeling whatever wants to come next, I will add to this. So thank you so much, first of all, for your openness and vulnerability. Thank you so much as our masculine as well now, yeah, so beautifully harmonizing themselves and are being able to be open and vulnerable and being able to receive, right? I love it.
Yeah.
Stepping into that action and leaderships. And the same again, there's nothing outside of ourselves, right? So
Mm.
even in collective, even the do you think I didn't have a narcissistic tendencies or I cannot tune into them right now, even if I really want to? Of course I can. We all have them. And again, it looks very differently and there is a spectrum of it, right? And
Yeah,
I will tell you, there are some of the most beautiful, perfect, like I've seen people play so well, wearing the mask so well of this like perfection, let's say caring mommy even, and being so narcissistic and so cruel. Like, and again, it's, and sometimes we don't even talk about it, right? Like it just looks like, okay, she's a little bit overbearing, but it goes further, right? So we all have it, like and some of us maybe lean into this tendency more so, right? Some of us have a little different things, like
yeah,
the spectrum for all of us is there.
yeah,
And in general, for me, I mean, labels is great to have the label for the literacy, let's say. Like I'm aware of that's what's happening. Yeah. Yet again, as I can yesterday be one, right? I can be narcissistic yesterday. I can be this one now, this person, and this way of being. And then I can be next time really loving. And then in somebody's story, I'm a villain. And in somebody's story, I am this. Yet, right? For
yeah,
us, we were able to integrate, if you're able to integrate all the parts, you will be able to integrate again all the fragmented roots, all the fragmented parts of you that you were not able to integrate. And that's where the all stuff comes from, really, right? The
yes, so
tendencies,
much so.
yeah, the all of this. So if it's in collective, it's within all of us because there is not a cell that doesn't have the collective. So it's not only you. Again, thank you so much for owning it so well, right? And actually going and looking into it. For me,
Yeah.
years, it was actually the opposite. I had an ex that was very narcissistic. So I went all into the book. And then I found out the people pleaser, the empath that is so, such a great combination with the narcissist. And I was wondering why, right? So it's beautiful. It led me literally to check in with myself, go
Yeah.
to somebody else label. And in the beginning I was yet I went all in, and then I found the parts that was like, but wait a second, who attracts the narcissist? And I was like, okay, where are my parts that are still narcissistic with my own self? Because again,
Yeah.
it's my life, it's me doing me, right? So again, thank you so much for opening. Yet I
Yeah.
feel like so many of us get to take that responsibility in the way that we are all a little bit of all. You get
So
it?
I would like to, I'd like to go, I think a good way of like maybe going through this, at least this first part of our conversation is maybe could I just touch a little bit more on the like the chronology of
Oh,
how
please.
the how these things link together. And
Absolutely.
I actually want to give some people some resources too.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Because
And we have few people watching and they say, oh, look, Tor already said, oh, you see the conversation. Okay, awesome. Mike, go ahead.
I'm in there. I'm in there.
I love it. I
All
love it.
right. So I want to the one of the first things that I found was a book called "You Might Be a Narcissist If."
A good one.
I'm gonna look up the author's name here.
You might be a
Well,
narcissist if
yeah, you might be a narcissist if like a play on the Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a redneck if.
I love it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's so it's um you might be a narcissist if. And then the subtitle is How to Identify Narcissism in Ourselves and Others and What
Beautiful.
We Can Do About It.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I was like, oh, that's so good. There looks
Yeah.
like there's another one here too called How to Stop Being a Narcissist. So what I found was a very few resources that talked about how to not be a narcissist. That was the only book I could find on the subject. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I checked Amazon, I checked everywhere, and I'm like, okay, I guess this is where
Maybe
I'm
you are
starting.
the next one. Maybe you will write the next one because the experience is the
Maybe,
most important. You're not supposed to
yeah,
be a doctor about it. Like you said, well, I'm not an expert. Like, who can be a better expert than hold himself, right? Through these
yeah,
glass of narcissism, like who is better expert? Like, so you're not even expert, you're literally a possibility and a tuning fork and a beautiful portal for anyone that wants to clear up, to dissolve any of that. So you are
yeah.
beyond expert. You're better than
So,
expert.
I'm gonna recommend that if you are in this moment or listening to this, either like later on YouTube or live or wherever, however, um, I wanna just give you a moment to say there are definitely a lot of resources for you. If you're having a moment, you're like, yeah, I can admit to myself in this private moment that I've been kind of narcissistic about these certain things. I just want to let you know there's help. There's help. So this is a good place to start. This book kicked everything off for me. From this book and through doing searches on YouTube about this subject, I was introduced to a few other resources, which I also want to give a shout out to, and we can put those on the links. Maybe I can put in the links
Beautiful,
in the chat,
absolutely.
right?
Yes, yes,
All
you're gonna
right.
send me all the links. Yes.
Okay. So I stumbled upon a few YouTube channels. One of them was Thais Gibson. Do you know
Hmm.
about Thais Gibson?
I
Okay,
don't
so she has a school called the Personal Development School, which gives you basically online courses where um, you can learn about attachment theory. You can basically take a test and figure out what your attachment style is. This is such great. This is like one of the biggest things I recommend for anybody who really wants to get in and do some deep work. Um, understand your Figure out what your attachment style is. If you're in a partnership, figure out what your partner's attachment style is. These are foundational. This is the groundwork. Um, how do we feel? Do we want to do a little overview on what attachment theory is?
Go for it, of course. Yeah,
All
you,
right.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna do my best to describe this again. It's the first time on YouTube, first time live. I've explained this for a bunch of friends though. So all right, here goes.
And
Um,
don't forget to share from your experience. It's the best explanation. Be
oh
like,
yes, yes. Okay, okay. So attachment theory comes from the idea that in childhood we get a certain amount of reinforcement, or let's just start out with the state of a baby, like a child. Okay, they're helpless, they can't take care of themselves, they can't feed themselves, like they will literally perish without help. And in that state of complete helplessness, we learn things about our caregivers even at the pre-verbal stage. So, uh, most leading experts in the field of attachment theory say that your attachment style, the foundation of your attachment style, and sometimes most of your attachment style is formed from the age of 0 to 18 months. It's that early.
yeah,
And a good chunk of that is pre-verbal. And this is how the pre-verbal part plays out. So you're in distress, for whatever reason. You're hungry, you got a poopy diaper, your toy fell off of your high chair, whatever it is. You're in distress, you can't solve the problem yourself. Okay.
I
So what
love it.
do? You cry for help. That's what we all do when we're babies, right? Okay. Now, if you have, if you're, let's call them attachment figures, and in most of our lives as we're growing up, our primary attachment figures are our parents, right? So, we're helpless, whatever it is that distresses us. Now we're in a distressed state and we're showing that distress so that we can get help. Now, if when we show distress, our immediate needs are immediately attended to with care and attention to the point where the whatever it was that was distressing the child, whatever it was that was distressing the us or the child, however you want to put it, if that problem is handled well by the adult comes in, the parent comes in, primary attachment figure comes in, helps the child solve the problem, and in the process models for the child that this doesn't need to be a big deal in a sense that the parent remains calm, that the parent doesn't get all freaked out by the kid screaming or crying. This is very important parenting skills 101. So if the child sees, and we are pattern discovery machines. The human mind is okay. This is how we learn language patterns. This is how we learn like all of our behaviors. It's imprinting and it's patterning. And so one of the very first patterns that we pick up is when I'm in distress and I need help. Does help come? If help comes, and it's consistent and it's thorough and it gets everything resolved before help leaves, what the child learns is very early, my feelings are important, my needs are important, and therefore I must be important. And if a child gets that consistently, then that child generally tends to grow up with a secure attachment style because the child trusts the environment, trusts that their needs will be met, and also trusts that in most circumstances, most problems can be met without getting all emotionally dysregulated, especially if parents model that for them. Now, that's secure attachment. If you grew up with that consistently, it's the pattern that plays out in the child's life over years. And each time this pattern reinforces, my emotions are important, my needs are important, I'm important. And you repeat that enough times, now you have built an actual, let's bring it back to quantum living, you've built a quantum state where the expectation that tomorrow is going to be good, like today was good, creates more good days. And there's a very practical aspect to that as well. But now, on the flip side of that, if the child's needs are not attended to, if the pattern is, I have to cry and I don't get help, and I'm still in a state of emotional dysregulation and I'm still not getting help, I wonder what will happen if I cry louder. And so that's what a child does, is they're testing to see what gets the result, right? Well, I cried, that didn't work. I cried louder, that worked. Okay, cool. What happens next time? I cry, didn't get help. I cry louder, I finally get help. Now, usually when that's a pattern, there's also a thing that happens where when the parent does come in finally to take care of the child, it's a rushed, let's just get whatever it takes to make you stop crying, right? Buy you the toy, do the, whatever, like whatever. Okay. So what the child learns, and again, this is reinforced. And so what the child learns over time through this reinforcement, and the reinforcement builds a set of neurons in your brain, and whatever if the neuron fires and has emotion attached to it, what fires and wires together stays as a neural pathway in your brain, and then that determines really the outcome of your life. So if you cry and nothing happens, and you cry harder, and finally something happens, but it's all kind of reluctant, and you sort of get your needs met enough to stop crying, I guess, but then your parent just like bails immediately. Okay, what that's going to do is going to teach the child, my emotions are not important, my needs are not important. I don't even know where I rank in all the. I finally get my needs met, but I have to make a huge deal out of it to get my needs met, right? So what that does is it creates more acting out because it's what solves the problem. And so like when you meet somebody in life, and we've either been that person or we've met that person, so this is no judgment, it's just recognition of what phases we can go through as we learn and grow and develop and evolve.
Yeah.
When you're in that mode where your first thing that you feel like you have to do is make a big deal out of everything, or else you will never get any help. Okay, that's anxious attachment. That's where that comes from. That's the beginning of the anxious attachment style. So we've covered two styles so far: secure and anxious. Okay, now there's a third style. There's actually four total. The other one is this: I cry as a child. My needs are not met, not attended to. I cry harder. I cry louder. I cry until I can't cry anymore. And nothing happened. No help came. And I guess I'm just in this all on my own. I can't trust anybody to show up for me. So for and that becomes avoidant attachment. And so that's when at a very early age, an individual, a child who becomes an adult and carries the patterns from their childhood into their adulthood, they're very like overly independent, like to a fault, to where it actually like kind of prevents them their whole life from maybe working in a better way, because if they could learn to trust and be interdependent with the right people, then they could form these relationships that never going to be perfect, but they can be consistent. And it's through that, kind of that teamwork that and fellowship that we grow. Like there's a certain aspect of human growth that just doesn't happen unless we live it out with people around us. But
That
so avoidance, yeah. So avoidant attachment comes from I can never trust anybody to be there for me. I have to do it all on my own. And so they just don't even they choose to end up not even showing the emotion in the first place. Why feel the emotion if it doesn't do anything anyway? I'm just gonna bury it and deal with it myself. And this just shows me the pattern that I can't trust anybody, and I have to show it for myself. So those are the main three ones. Now there's a fourth one, and this is the one that I discovered that I was.
I love it.
Where your your childhood reinforcement, that moment of I need something, I'm emotionally dysregulated, this is the only way I know how to get my needs met because I can't talk yet. And sometimes the support shows up and sometimes it does not, and it's not very consistent as to where you can count on it coming from, and where uh you just don't know. You just it's
Don't
oh,
know what
that
to
was
expect.
nice. Oh, that was great that my parent finally showed, well, because my birthday, what, so and so what I fear, and that's called disorganized attachment, or another name for it is fearful avoidance, fearful avoidant attachment, right? And so what ends up happening is the anxious attachment style develops what's called activation strategies. If they're going to get their needs met and they have to rely on somebody else to help them with this, and they feel like automatically they're going to have to act anxious about it, they're going to develop strategies to activate you, to poke you, to get you to kind of do the thing
Yeah,
that you want
yeah,
they want you to do.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, so that's activation strategies. And then uh avoidant attachment people are, since they're so, they crave attention, affection, connection, closeness, intimacy, but it's a warning sign for them, and then they push it away. So no
Yeah.
matter how much they want it, they push it away, but it's pretty consistent, right? And that's deactivating strategies. So there's the activating and the deactivating. So what happens with fearful avoidant, because the fearful avoidant doesn't know what combination of things is going to help them get their needs met, they develop the tactics for both and the reactions of both. So what am I going to do first? I'm going to react to the situation anxiously, and then if I don't get my way, then I'm going to get pissed off and decide, oh, well, I can't count on anybody to help me anyway, so now I'm just going to be avoidant now. And then, and then
Anyone recognizing, resonating, anyone with any of those?
so anxious is a pretty consistent, and again, it's a spectrum, and we develop
Yeah.
both activating and deactivating strategies. But to categorize them as you're predominantly one or predominantly the other, or predominantly just going back and forth on a dime so quickly that it's pretty obvious, hey, you have fearful avoidant attachment. You're a little disorganized there. So that's what I actually ended up discovering that I was, is I was the fearful avoidant side.
So
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
I love that you went down this little rabbit hole and explained it so beautifully. Because again, maybe some people will recognize themselves. Maybe like, oh, the attachment or detachment doesn't say much, and then when you give an example, a lot of people connect through. And again, it's not to put a label on. It's not maybe you even noticing
yeah,
something else next to you. It's literally for you to realize, okay, there is a programming. Because if I get to summarize really quick, again, what you're sharing, yeah, we have even in the womb, we already have an electro signals and signaling, and we already have sensory of atmosphere of the mother. Period.
yeah, we
Now
do.
they proved as well that we take mother's mitochondria, right? We take the whole energetic field of mom. We take nervous system of mom. We take, so thank you so much for paying attention to the detail as well, Tor, saying, yeah, it's not even about tending to the kid, right? It's like, what is your field drenched in right now, right? Is it drenched
Yeah,
in frustration and survival? And you can be like, but I'm doing everything. What the heck is wrong with you? Like, the kid is just reacting to your field because you're frustrated. It's like it's amplifying it, right? And again, not to judge yourself in any way, because if you're gonna judge yourself, you're just gonna get stuck there. And if you're gonna judge other, the same. And if you're noticing in yourself or anyone else, again, if I notice in somebody else, I'm gonna ask why I'm there, because then I'm gonna know the tendencies of the pleaser, people's pleaser, right? So it's so much information. I love it. I love it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So, okay. So let's see. Yeah. So in the process of going down the deep dives, I will say this. I'm actually very grateful for my ADHD in the sense that I definitely go into the patterns of the special interest. I don't know if you know much about that ADHD or who in our audience does, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
it's just I I'm grateful for that aspect of the way that my brain processes information because
absolutely.
it did give me a very quick way of I guess recalibrating because
Wow.
I binge the information. So I have these Bluetooth headphones, right? And I pretty much live with these things on my head at almost all times. So if I'm like driving to work or doing something like organizing my video gear or just whatever, I have these things on and I'm constantly learning, constantly. So I was listening to probably, I don't know, multiple hours of content about CPTSD and attachment theory. And I did this probably, I'd say 2 to 4 hours of content a day for the better part
Dive. Yeah, yeah. And
of a
again,
year.
yeah, and again, listen, it's about when Tori sharing like how deeply he dived and how much he's on content and intaking it. He's not saying you gotta go and do it. I love though, because
Mm,
that's where you went for support. That's how you
yeah.
knew at that moment how to support yourself. Because for me, it was very similar. Yet I delved into different stuff, right? But it was very similar. I couldn't stop because when I was like listening and kind of resonating, I was a little calmer. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it's going somewhere. Like, let's just do this. Like, I don't know, because I can't do this anymore. I really cannot do this anymore, right? So again, it shows that there's the love, the courage lives within all of us. Yes, Matthew, embodiment. The courage lives within all of us. The willingness, it's there. We
Yeah.
still get to see it. And thank you for your. So you just showed up for yourself. You're like, I will show up
Yeah.
for myself, and that's how at the end you can end up showing up for somebody else, not needing the label. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Or title meant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so that was a kind of a little gift. In the process of doing these deep dives, I studied all adjacent subjects that I could as well. I studied borderline personality disorder. I found I don't remember who it was, but I found a therapist, licensed therapist, who was talking about how, in many cases, like BPD behaviors and symptoms are actually on like pretty much overlap exactly with the farthest, most extreme end of fearful avoidance. I was like, hmm. So
Beautiful.
just informally, I didn't get diagnosed. I've been diagnosed for ADHD. I've not been diagnosed for BPD, but it was funny because when I took, you do the test. It's like, how many of the criteria do you have? It's like, I think there's what, nine? There's 11 or nine. Anyway, it's whatever the minimum number was that you had to have in order to be considered by a professional therapist diagnosing you. To have that, I was like, wow, I've got just the exact right number to be that as well. But I approached it from the perspective of, okay, well, there is this overlap between fearful avoidance and these other things about NPD, and I was like, so once again, just like I did with kind of like with the narcissist stuff, I was like, what is one? And that's pretty much like, if I just do the inverse of that list, that's pretty much the things I need to learn how to not do in order to not be that. So that also is the case.
I mean,
Was
like
it?
you just said, basically the definition of we have pups sleeping here. One is under the bed, the other one is right here.
Uh,
Oh, say hi a little bit. Usually
uh,
time it's evening, so usually this time we snuggling. We're like white. So they're here alive, just not in the face. Um, what we were saying? See?
um, I was saying, yeah. So like with narcissism, the aspects of it that I saw in myself, and also with like BPD and with extreme fearful avoidance, what I would do, what I did is I made a list of the characteristics
Yeah,
of
not to
what
be okay.
those things
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
and that became my not to do list.
I love it. That's so funny. And really,
That
that's what I wanted to say. If you think
was
of
a
definition of
breakthrough.
remembrance, yeah, if
Yeah,
you
that was
think of,
it's like, oh, okay, NPD people do this. Ooh, that's kind of ugly.
I,
Fearful avoidance people do that. Narcissists do that. Ugh. I'm like, oh, I've done that a few times. And then I'm like, okay, so these are all the things that they do. This now becomes my not to do list. And then
there you
and then I
go.
would literally look for the places in my behavior that where those things would show up, and I'd be like, oh, I remember I reacted this way to this one thing this one time, and I feel that coming up for me right now. What am I going to do about that? How am I going to treat that differently? What skills that I've just learned this last couple of weeks of doing my deep dive, rabbit hole
I can actually utilize.
research,
Yeah,
what things did I just learn that I can apply to this right now? And
beautiful.
then each one of those like situations would come up for me, and then I would have a whole new skill set to now practice
Yeah,
changing, creating the gap. So it really comes down, what I've learned about uh, evolving, growing, changing, self-help, however you want to phrase that, whatever works for you, um, is this process that we call introspection or
yeah,
meta awareness, and that is
yeah,
the continue as best you can. You'll never be perfect at it, but you can get pretty consistent, as maintaining a high level of awareness of your emotional state, and that you are experiencing the state. You are not the state itself.
yeah.
You're
Self-inquiry.
you're experiencing emotions, but when you identify with the emotions, that's when all of these behaviors really start to come out, because now you're tapping into this trauma that's still stored in your system. Like, you're having this giant reaction to something that your partner said because you suddenly feel totally abandoned. And then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go back later and you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's not what you were saying, really. Okay. You
yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Um,
so when you said, I might be interrupting you, yet when you said
please.
that to-do
Yeah.
list, I was like, that's literally the definition of remembrance, of awakening, right? Yeah, it's not more. we don't need to add more to us. It's literally we're peeling off the layers to see already how powerful,
Yes.
already how whole we are. So as well, not to-do list. And I will, so my perspective in general, even into psychology, is very probably different from the majority. Because again, I see psychology as a great tool to recognize or realize. Yet, really, it just put us all in the box, like even multiple personality disorder.
Mm.
So it's funny because me, a long time ago, I used to think that I am not, right? I grew up in Soviet Union, so none of us got diagnosed with anything. We didn't have any of it, you know. None of the kids got ADHD. Basically, you were just very differently treated. Yet again, when you are in your wholeness spiritually, and clear up the miasmas emotionally and mental body and physical body and all this stuff. Um, you are all of it. And now, like people, if they describe, I even have an actual review about my coaching. A client starts like this. She's like 1,000 different faces, and you never know who shows up. And she knows exactly who needs to show up for you. Sometimes you don't even know. And then this one sees you. So you get it because I really feel even my style, even my like clothing, even my changes so much before, right? I was always questioned from, let's say, society or cultural or around one. Like, when are you settled? What's wrong? What's happening to you? Why you're all? Why you're everything? Why? When are you just gonna pick one thing? Like, but I am never. I'm not supposed to be one thing, because
Mm.
a pure definition of even transformation or alchemy for me is to be whoever I need to be at any given moment to go anywhere I want to go, meaning all the parts of me is needed. So even the narcissistic, integrated narcissistic parts, sometimes
Yeah.
they get to show up, but they show up in the balance. They show, you get it? They show up in
Yeah.
a command. They don't need to freak out, meaning I had to have it. So, hence, a lot of people just go into psychology and kind of put the label on themselves forever, not understanding that ADHD, it's a genius brain, not understanding that multiple, just from outside, they had to timid what? Anomalies. They always had to what? Put somebody else in the box because it didn't fit the narrative. So that's why psychology was even invented, because, even most of hallucinations, it was not because they were they were in
Hmm.
tune with other dimensions. So I'm only thinking how many people actually end up in asylums absolutely fully awoken, and with open pineal gland. You get it? So yet it's a beautiful way for us. Again, it's a portal. Everything is a portal. Like, you found yourself, like me too. I went into the psychology of narcissism, and then when I went into people pleasing, then from people pleasing, I started reading up about what is the empath. Then you get it? Like the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many ways to start going down the rabbit holes. I love it. Yet everyone, I will ask for, invite you strongly to consider never really fully put a label on you, because the same, my brain works 10 things at one time, and I learned how to work with it, and it's so beautiful. I'm just very fast at anything I really do. I know, really good. And then when I shut down, I just totally shut down. But now I know how to shut down as well. So you get it? Like, you get to master the spectrum and integrate it, and then
Yeah.
you can have it at any time play for you
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. What you just said reminds me a lot of Carl Jung's shadow work. Have you studied Jung, Carl Jung?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you have. Yeah. That, like I think that like when we can come to a healthy understanding of our shadow, if we have a lot of anger built up inside of ourselves that we've just sort of been holding on to, right? That's going to come out somewhere. It's going to come out usually not in a clean way. It's going
yeah,
to come out kind of mutated from what the original anger was about. But largely, it's like when you start like learning some of these life skills that we just don't get taught, like setting boundaries, for example. Like, guess what? if you can effectively communicate in the process of setting a boundary with somebody and you can successfully do that, and they are also coming from a place where they're evolved enough to understand what that is and to honor that and to really work with you on that, you've just avoided a whole reason for being angry.
Beautiful.
So you don't even have to deal with that aspect of your shadow self, as you like learn these ways to navigate in a more healthy way, to navigate relationships in a more healthy way.
So are you saying vulnerability would be one of the keys? Because I did many a while ago. I haven't done one for a while. Yet I used to do a lot of intimacy seminars. It was kind of my jam,
Mm.
good 7 years ago, for whatever. And
Yeah.
into me you see, right? Intimacy. What is intimacy? Into me you see,
Ooh, I like that. I've never heard that
and
before.
intimacy into you I see, right? Yet for
Yeah.
me to be able for you to be able to see into me, what do I get to see? I get to see into me first and allow you to see into me. And the
Yeah.
same to you. And vulnerability would be, in my interpretation, my own experiences, a way into that into me you see. So, like you say, coming from place, you know, anger came up and the friction happened and the conflict happened. So even
Yeah.
if it happened already, coming from vulnerable place of wow, like yo, that it did happen. And yet, it wasn't about you, like coming from the place where it really hurts, right? When you start knowing yourself, you can share. Yet a lot of us didn't know ourselves at all up until
Mm.
now, Tor, correct? So if I don't know that this, anger, if I really think that this anger belongs to him or her or you, I can't even, if I don't see into myself, how can I even anybody to ask to see it to me? Because I won't be ever able to share from the depth of my vulnerability and authenticity, not hiding behind the mask with my partner, right? So again, knowing
Yeah.
thyself and then in intimacy. If I want intimacy with this guy, I gotta, or this gal, or this, what, I gotta, wait, I gotta let them see into me. Wow, even the parts that I don't want myself sometimes to, right? That's intimacy.
Yeah.
So, and especially if that's a relationship, a consistent, beautiful relationship, at this point, most of my tribe and even me, you know, if something it haven't happened a while yet. There was a friend of mine visiting, and they opened the doors, and I was doing something I don't remember, and they both, I think they start chatting, and I was like, trigger, 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 trigger. And they're like, oh, okay, just a second. They close it. I was like, no, not interrupt. No, trigger, trigger. I didn't come from like pretending I'm listening and then cursing them. No, we're like, no, trigger, out, out, not in my face. Anything, you can tell your partner. I tell my friends or my people, I tell even my mom, today I need just a pep talk. Do not give me advice. Do not, right now, mom, please. I am so just pump me up. But what really you can ask from me. You get it? Like
Yeah.
right now, I just want to pick her up. Her like it's just so beautiful. Yet again, for sharing yourself, like why you were able to share now the way you're even sharing here and with your partners, because you got to know yourself, because you just said all of these hours of discontent, all of it sitting with with yourself. That's self-inquiry. That's what I would call self-inquiry, right?
Yes.
Everything in general, every evening you can just kind of like really quick. Oh, I was feeling great today. It was a flow. I'm just like, oh, today was a little friction. What was that about? Is it still here, or do you wanna put it in a journal, maybe not go to sleep with it, right? Like how beautiful is that? If I'm able
Yeah.
to share with me that way and check in with me, then I'm able to do it. Yet if I'm not able, then it's very challenging. So again, with
Yes.
reading yourself, embodiment of reciprocal, they're cute and they're all yeah, we're all giggling here. I love it
Yeah.
all. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing that you're knowing yourself. You're leading yourself. You're gonna be able to lead a family, right? You're going to be able to lead a union, you're going to be able to lead a community, you're going to be able to lead a whole thing. If you're leading yourself, period. Go ahead, whatever.
Yes, yes. So you know, the self-knowledge, the check-in with yourself, as you were talking, it resonated with me. And it brought up something that I want to share with our audience.
Please.
This is something that I have never heard anyone else talk about or suggest. And as a habit that I started doing about 4 years ago ish, I started making voice recordings for myself as my higher self,
Yeah, I've done that.
talking to my present self from the future. And I would assume that persona, I would meditate, I would tap in, and I would be like, okay, that there's a future version of me that accomplished the things that I'm trying to do in my life right now. I'm going to talk to that future version of me because as we know, like there's all these different forking paths that we could, you know, that's what quantum is all about. It's collapsing the superposition of reality. And so I was like, okay, so enough possibilities collapsed to become this thing, this version of me that achieved this thing. And now I'm going to tap into what he would say to me. I'm going to channel that. And then I would start the recording and I would talk as if I was him to me. So it would literally sound like this. It'd be like, all right, Thor, I'm beaming information back to you, the steps that you need to take in order to get to where I am right now, because I took them to get here. I'm going to tell you what those steps are. And then it would be something like, okay, so but when I first started doing this, I'll just give you an example. And this is a little bit vulnerable, but I noticed that one of my narcissistic patterns was that I would try to steer conversations in a direction that benefited me energetically in the exchange with my partners.
I love it. And I love
And I
how honest you are. I love it. Bravo.
and
Go
I
ahead.
and I'm channeling my future self,
So
and my
honest.
future self comes up with a name for it and says this to my past self. I'm like, all right, Thor, you know that thing you do when you're manipulating your partner for energy? We're gonna call that steering, and it's very subtle. It's so subtle that you're only just now becoming aware of the fact that you do this a lot. And I'm telling myself this, right? And I'm making this recording. And as I'm listening to the words come out of me, it's really, it does feel like it's him talking through me. And so then I usually try to keep the recording at about maybe 10 minutes. Okay. Then I stop the recording, I sign it off, and then I listen to it. And now I'm listening to my literal own voice giving me the best advice of my entire life, because I actually, when I'm in that level of vulnerability and honesty with myself, yeah, I know what I need. I know what my
Yeah.
bullshit is. I know what I need to do to get to that next place in my life. You know, I know, and with that level of radical self-honesty, you have all the information and material you need to be in order to role play your future self for yourself, make the recording, speak your own name to yourself. Thor, you've been doing this thing called steering in your relationship. That's what we're going to call it. And now this week, your goal, your whole thing is you're going to stay continuously aware of when you start to feel the urge to do that. And then maybe you might regress, you might make mistakes, you might go down that path again, the one that you're trying to avoid, but you're going to be aware of it this time. And you cannot unsee that, because
Yeah. Yeah.
not only will you now see this in every interaction that you have with your partner, you will now see this in
Right away
every
start
interaction
seeing.
you have
Yeah.
with everyone. And you can't ignore it. I mean, you could try, but like it's so embedded into your awareness now that you can't live with yourself if you continue to do that. And so like that was where some of this really deep work started to happen. And so I started making a daily practice out of this, making myself a 10-minute recording every day. and then listening back to that, and then channeling that through the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and however long I needed to in order to
Yeah.
accomplish the things that my future self told me I needed to do to get to where he was when he said it.
Yeah, beautiful. So again, let's not downplay that. First of all, you showing up every day, 10 minutes recording, then 10 minutes playing back, then being totally in this intention and that quantum state, right? As we say,
Yeah,
and keep
yeah.
having it in your awareness. So I'll tell you that if anybody does anything every day for 20 minutes, meaning journaling, meaning recording your voices, voice is beautiful. By the way, it's very powerful. So I used to do it, yet I used to record more for like healing and body healing, like talking to myself and how from that. So I love it though. And really, it's profound. You can even sleep with these recordings if you want to, whatever. Yeah, it's very powerful. Yet again, if you show up, because you say all the knowledge you need, yet I was like, but are you noticing that you're the one sitting there recording it, listening to it? And again,
Yeah.
how many of who is listening gonna do that? So we get to, again, knowledge is amazing and everything he's sharing is amazing. Yet I want you to notice what's really grounding his shift is the internal shift, yes, and it's already different action, meaning a different trajectory action, right? He kept shifting trajectories, right? You kept like, oh, wait, maybe I can respond differently. Oh, wait, I just caught myself again. So yeah, if you journal 20 to 30 minutes every day and meditate and tune in into your breath work and tune in into your voices and say out loud intentions and speak in the mirror and pump up a few push-ups, like your body will be like, hey, you're again here. Hey, like you say, it's impossible to unsee it. Like you can't see it. You're like, you're almost at the point, and then you're like almost disgusted by yourself, like, wow, I really do that a lot. Like, yeah. It's yeah, thank you so much again, because your journey and your example and resonant discernment, Matt, you said, and your ways of being as well, like tuning into creating your reality, no matter you like you literally took and recreated it. Can you see it? Like you went into the books and you were and then with that, my dogs once out, so let me just let them out. Yeah, I'm alive and they're by the door crying. They heard somebody else coming into the house, but they're like by the door suddenly. Um, so again, let's not minimize it because you boldly, consistently for a long time took action. Emotionally, mentally, that mind shift, that deeper perspective, that seeing, that awareness, and then physically, as recording your voices, as shifting that conversation, as taking more responsibility in the relationships. Because that's what I hear most, right? Definitions were beautiful, information, amazing, but really, I see your journey, goosebumps. Like I see the embodiment, and that's what I want everyone to take from this, mostly.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
feels really, really good to get this out, by the way. I just want to say thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak from such like a raw and real place. I sort of tend to be like kind of a lone wolf personality. I tend to just like
popular loner. I get another. Yeah, same. Yeah.
guilty. This is a really cool opportunity to just really like open up, and I've had a lot of practice talking about these things because I've shared these things with my personal friends. Like,
Yeah,
I've had quite few people reach out to me because I'm very consistent about posting healing memes.
beautiful.
Anything that I feel is like a piece of wisdom that somebody could use to like make their life better that day or as part of a pattern. And then so like people started reaching out to me and they're like, like what is this attachment theory thing? And like, how does CPTSD play a
Yeah,
role
yeah,
in all of this? And so I started talking to like my personal friends, and having like sometimes hours long conversations with them about these topics. And then I was like, well, I'm just kind of curious to see if like what I've discovered is going to be helpful for you. So I turned them on to, Thais Gibson and Anna Runkle, by the way. She has a YouTube channel called The
I
Crappy Childhood Fairy.
I
Like if you
think
had a
I've
crappy
heard. Yeah.
childhood,
Okay. Okay.
she's your fairy. She's gonna come rescue you from a crappy childhood. And her specialty, and she's comes more from the perspective of a life coach versus a therapist, right? But still like very um like all of her information is just so tangible, actionable, and solid. And so like where was I?
Uh, Anna
um
and information and her channel, or maybe you want
oh
else.
yeah. So like friends started reaching out to me, and they're
Ah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
what's what is this? I've never heard of this. And then I was able to share these resources, like the same resources that became so
Supported you.
important in my journey and my story. And then I was able to share that information, both just like what I'm doing here today, which is basically giving like a verbal summary of that knowledge, but also turning them onto the resources so that they can start doing their own deep dives with it. And then
Yeah.
like that kind of started about 2 years ago. And and what really makes me smile is it was kind of like a little bit of an experiment for me. I'm like, this is valuable information for a lot of people, not just me, and it might be helping, a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But then to see it, to share this with some of my personal friends, and to watch their lives transform,
Uplifting.
and then check in with them a few months later and a few months later, and they're like, yeah, that conversation we had 6 months ago, well, this is the result of it. This is how it changed my life. And then that was, again, that it became more apparent to me that I really, I have, I guess, a gift, that I can share with people, not just through, like the memes that I post are, they're amazing, but I also felt like it's time to do more.
I
It's
love
time to
it.
it's time
Yes.
time to open more.
Here you
Like
go. Open your voice.
let yeah,
Yeah.
let the
Open your voice,
vibration
Lita.
of
Beautiful.
yeah, let my throat chakra open and my heart chakra open and my crown chakra, and just like, let this like pour out into the world and into the
Here you
universe
go.
in
You're
ways.
being it. Yeah. You're being
Yeah, embodiment. That's what Matt said earlier.
embodiment.
Yes.
Yeah. And the
It
example.
res
And Mark is here as well. I see one of my dearest friends as well. He's on Instagram, Mark Janist. You're gonna love him too. Follow him. He
Yay.
says expression solidifies knowledge, self or others. He's has an engineer, brilliance, and a lot of cuckoo in him as well. I love him. I
Yeah.
Mark, you cuckoo. Yeah, he's extraordinary the way he sees the more you express, the more back from the yeah. I love it. Yeah, the same. I always said when I teach, really, it's imprinting even more awareness about when I'm sharing about their stuff or they're sharing with me, right? It's the same. I keep seeing it. So first, and you're like, wow, I shared, I guess, like I shared you said a summary of, verbal
Yeah.
summary. You did way more.
Yeah.
You did way freaking
Yeah.
more. First, you
This
did
is
way
this
more.
is this is more, and
You
this is a what would we call this? A quantum leap? Something like that?
Here you go. You did way more. Right now, you're already left an energetic signature for your own self. That future, you're already left here. They're already speaking, already sharing, already expressing. And that's the thing. Without you saying a word here, without simply you showing up so open,
Mm.
so vulnerable, with you already embodying the dissolved structures of narcissists within your field, right? Like how beautiful. You have like literally the formula that another field touches, and you're like, you want the formula? It's already in my field.
Yes.
So you've done way more. Anybody that tuned in here or will tune in later, again, you will, it's simply easier to resonate and recognize and remember like, oh, that's what's in my way, and anybody that embodies their own knowledge, anybody that leads themselves, right? We are, what do you call it? A possibility of that frequency. That's all. So yeah, and we don't need to look from the lens of like, oh, only few families have narcissistic themes going on. No, again, like I shared, your information will support can support anyone because we all have these tendencies. It's just maybe we never call them that way or
Yeah.
discovered through that lens. Yet it's the same. It's still nervous system imprint and it's programming. And again, you can go through this lens, you can go a little bit through neuroplasticity more, you can go, epigenetics, quantum biology, all the same. We know that the structure imprints in the nervous system up on like 12 years old, and then you just kind of replaying until you become a little more conscious, per se. So I love it. Yeah, for sure, we're gonna put all the resources that you shared. So you will share with me, and I will put it in the description itself and maybe even the comments. I would love for this conversation to continue in the comments even later, like after the life is gone. I see quite a few comments here, and I so appreciate it. And sometimes I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. Those comments doesn't stay when the life is, gone and it's processed. They all go
Yeah.
away. Yeah, so we can continue this conversation. I bet Tor gonna come in and maybe Tor's community because we're gonna collab with your YouTube as well. Maybe they're
Yeah.
gonna come in and really, it's I will invite even it's less than like, oh, you're from narcissistic lens. It's simply to yes, these attachment years, the nervous system imprint and reprogramming. Um, it's our responsibility to really see how clean our filter is, right? That the of the lens that we're looking at the world and ourselves.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
it's not that Thor saw in his partners something weak or manipulative or easy to manipulate, right? It's because he was seeking for something for himself. Really, he was just seeking something, right, to fill the hole, and the other one was seeking to. So that's all what we're doing, right? The kids, we're playing. So yeah, we'll leave all resources. Uh,
Yeah.
Again, it's more your frequency as a tuning fork. It's more you right now being it, and on the top of it, as you're stacking your emotional body, open, vulnerable, and here in the statue, sitting in front of camera, you know how beautiful your mind, your intention, and whatever you want to create are like this. Because again, you're already tuning into all of it and supporting others to do so. Um, I will add nervous system. Okay, there was a few, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I did a post on nervous system imprint map, and I did like you start saying 0 to 12 months, 0 to 18 months. So I have literally 0 to like 3 months, 3 to 6 months, whatever system is developing, and where more trauma you have, that's another layer of the thingies. So
Mm.
I will add a link for this PDF. I wonder, yeah, because I did send out in my email, but I feel like if they're going to dive into attachment, all the theories and all the psychology behind it, that supports them as well. Because you can some kids, let's say, have symptoms already at 3 and a half, they start sinuses, right? You look at that
Mm.
3-year-old, what's developing, right? And
Yeah.
you know the conflict that is behind it, and then it's easier for you to kind of grasp. So if I want to be able to put the file somehow in the description for you, linked for you guys to download, then you just contact, like put in a comment or DM me. I can email it to anyone that wants it as well, with all the resources that Tor shared as well. Tor, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
You beautifully shared how you communicate with uh, your future higher self, right? With your
Yeah.
so. What would you say right now to Tor, right? If you right now like
Mm.
a year ahead and because that's how I write journals. So I'm gonna put you like in a little scenario. Oh, you're in filmmaking as well, by the way. So here you go. You are on the scene now. So it's 2027 of what day today is? March something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2027, right? And suddenly
Yeah.
you didn't even expect. that your first the live transmission on YouTube will open up for you such a doors that
Yeah.
2027, and you're looking back now and you're seeing where it led you, and you're seeing how much more you shared, how much more publicly you spoke, how many more hearts you supported, and all this stuff. What would you tell to Tor? Go. For showing up
Uh,
here today, right? Appreciate himself.
yeah. Yeah, I would say Thor, you made a solid choice to be on the podcast with Roma. You made a solid choice to be open and vulnerable, and your choices there helped a lot of people and set the stage for you be to be able to share your light in ways that helped people find the traction that they need. Um,
Good one.
this I'm gonna keep going here for a sec.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Go, go.
or you stayed consistent with your goals for your physical health and you maintained your workout schedule even with your crazy other schedule. You stayed consistent and positive with your music. You did all the things that you have procrastinated doing, like getting your EPK together, getting your website together for your DJ brand, making stickers, making merch. You kind of got on a roll, everybody, and you just went for it. And now it's a year later, and all of these incredible things have come into your life. And it was, and some of these things are directly tied to the choice you made to go on this podcast and open up and shine your light even brighter. It's a cascading series of events now, uh, from that moment to this moment in 2027, uh, and the goals you set out for yourself to accomplish this year, you stayed consistent with those, and all of those smaller actions added up, and you got exactly what you wanted.
And so it is, and so be it, and so it is done. Atum. And I will go into a quick appreciation, yet deep, for everyone here, for every heart. In fact, everyone that is right there. I see you, Mark. I see you, Matthew. I see you. Everyone else. I see you. Uh,
Mm.
Tor, thank you so much, and everyone that will watch later. Um, I'm speaking from 2027 as well, March 9th. Amazing. And we're in a full fucking assumption because it couldn't go any other way because it already happened. You get it? So we're not hoping anymore where there's no goals because we're there. I celebrate the assumption that we took upon a year ago, how well it all going to work out for us. I
Yeah,
celebrate our open hearts and full fucking trust and knowing, right, of how brilliant and beautiful and big is what we were creating that day. We are all intertwined. We're all right now showing up with our brilliant codes, and everybody's flaws are the gifts that now we're all mastering with ease. And the last year, all year 2027 was full of roller coaster yet exciting, right? None of them scary, right? Exciting, maybe a little anxiety and nervousness because of how big everything that you ever seeded, everything that you ever started, right? Everything that you ever rippled, right? Came back 10 times back, fully into your wholeness. I celebrate everyone's health and absolute vitality. Light bodies are fully on, telepathy are fully on, clean, beautiful slate anytime we feel like, right? We know how to tune into that. Chor, thank you so much for allowing us to wear multiple personality disorder. All of I'm wearing this label as well because I can be anyone I want to be. And simply, we're all celebrating each other. Um,
Yeah.
that's the beauty. And last year, right before that hour, I felt like we're all coming together. I felt like we're all starting coming together physically. And yeah, it's been happening hardcore. And look at us. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
I wanna just I wish time could compress a little bit more. I wish we could go a little bit longer. But I just want to say, like, there were some things I was hoping we
We'll
could
come
touch
back.
on. We
We'll
can
come
come
back.
back. We can come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
But
we'll come back for sure.
I want to tie this message of hope into the whole conversation. For anybody who feels like you feel that calling within you to connect to yourself at a deeper level, to believe in yourself at a deeper level, to show up for yourself at a deeper level. We all deeply, deeply want to trust ourselves. And it can be hard because we know all of our own secrets. And that could be something that's really easy to judge ourselves for. But I want you to know that it is possible to transcend the patterns of your childhood. It is possible to show up in ways that um, expand your possibilities instead of limiting them.
Wow.
And I can say it definitely took some work, and I'm not going to say it was easy, but I'm also not going to say it was like terrifyingly hard either. Like most of the resistance to our evolution and our growth comes from the fear of the unknown. It actually like once you actually start the process and you get going and you get some momentum, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
not nearly as bad as I was making it out to be. I should have started this a little sooner. And that's okay though, because
yeah.
and I just want to really like emphasize to everybody
Thank
like
you. Yeah,
change is possible. You just have to want it, and you just have to be willing to do some research to develop the skills to make these changes in your life. It's
yeah,
absolutely possible, and it's absolutely worth it. And I really hope that everybody who's listening to this forevermore will find within the context of this conversation the courage to dig deeper, the courage to believe more in yourself, and to learn how to trust your own boundaries with yourself. For example, that's an hour long podcast right there, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
possible, and you guys can do it. And there's going to be a few resources you can start looking into to start your own healing path.
yeah,
But I really, you don't the ways that you've shown up, and you look back, and you're like, I didn't show up so good in that moment. You really can live in such a way that, like, weeks and months and years later, you go, oh, I so would have done that other thing if I
yeah,
hadn't made
yeah,
these changes.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
now, and here I am, and
Very
now I
different.
get to enjoy the better outcome of all of this, and that's the ultimate reward.
Yeah, and really, that's the ultimate reward because no matter how challenging the meeting yourself sometimes can be, when I look back, it was way more challenging to live in that bullshit. My own.
That part, that
What? You
part.
crazy? No. No, really. So yeah, thank you so much. It's absolutely, it's not only possible, it's at your fingertips if you just dive in. And yes, some work will be needed. Definitely radical honesty, as Mr. Torres, DJ Torres, so good at. It's amazing. That's the one thing you gotta be honest because it's not fun and it's really not fun. Usually, yeah, you're looking at yourself, it's like, okay, you brought in the friction, like don't lie to yourself. You already were thinking that about him, right? Or her or whatever. Yeah, so it's beautiful though. Yes, we'll leave some resources the same. Follow Tor on Instagram. We'll put all the links. Your YouTube is amazing. There is so much music, right? And there are so many visuals and
I so revamping my YouTube and my website are two of my big goals.
perfect.
That's what 2027 me was telling me, that I did well.
Okay. So
So
yeah,
that's
yet
what's in front of me now.
perfect. Yet you can still follow him there, like, or meet him as well.
Yeah.
Same here. I have a Patreon full of body being balance business classes that you can express yourself whichever way you want to. Instagram, obviously, that's where Tor met me. Just from Instagram, I do get quite a bit of messages that are like, just from your Instagram account, I start digging, and then they went somewhere else. As well, you were listening, there are so many podcasts, there are so many YouTubes, there are so many, for you to start maybe like, and at the end of the end, pausing with yourself. Because there's so much information out there, yet even if you're gonna read up a lot of information and you won't be able to pause and look into this mirror, into your eyes long enough to accept that radical honesty, right? Nothing gonna change. You won't be able to embody it. You won't be able to. So we're all learning to pause as the feminine energy is coming back, right? So it's not against masculine or anything. We're still going in action. We still have these beautiful, harmonious men and leaders. And we simply, everyone understanding that um, from the pause, from the void, from that stillness, from that let me go back in and take my energy here. That's where everything is born. It's aligned action, then inspired action. And it's, even Tor and I today, I had a pretty busy day. And I asked him for extra 10 minutes. So I wanted to ground because we thought to meet up a little earlier. And I was like, I feel I get to ground a little bit more. So I literally like went and moved and did a little breath and did a little couple stretches and like and did some somatic work, like really just moved through it and got very excited about tour. And it's funny how you said about your voice too, because even when I already journaled about this podcast, I already journaled from 27 and how amazing it was and how many people we touched. I think yesterday or the day before, or maybe even the day you agreed. I don't remember, but yeah. I love it. Anyways, everyone, I love you, love you, love you. Tor, my brother, one more time. Thank you so much. And I say congratulations to you. Congratulations to continue to step into your most authentic, most potential self. Thank you for revealing yourself, for revealing the wholeness, for revealing all these layers. Some of these layers maybe were uncomfortable for you before, and yet you reveal them now. And because you revealed these other layers, that's why, yeah, we're seeing and you're feeling the king, the right, the king, the warrior, the stoic, the everything in you. So yeah, huge appreciation and for all of you in general, all the masculine and all the feminine and all of us. Thank you for being here in this lifetime. So we'll talk very soon. I am leaving the life, and then Tor and I are gonna say quick bye with each other. Beautiful beings, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Yet tomorrow I will update description with all the links and everything. Magic, magic, magic evening. Um, you know,
Meowgic.
yes, magic. Just recently, I actually